we've got this great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. Mm-hmm. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting Trump?
It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans. And
I agree.
It's done crazy.
And, the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really, could we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? Sauce here today, and we're going to analyze Jamie Dimon. Sorry, he's a powerful banker, CEO of Morgan, JPMorgan and Chase. And I agree with his synopsis there as someone who is a liberal, right? Talks about liberalism and all this stuff. And to me, he's what was liberals used to be in, I believe, 2008, I believe 2012, before leftists took over their party. And I think one of the things that I can respect a lot of about common sense liberals is that they can kind of call it down the middle, right? They're kind of principled in that way. And you saw the news anchor already trying to interrupt his thoughts and talking. Oh, it's kind of hard to demonize 75 million people. Well, Democrats did a good job of doing it. I like that comeback. When Jamie Dimon said he's not a conformist, I agree with him. And I think that used to be the liberal message. Hey, do not force me to conform to things that go against my personal beliefs. I can respect your beliefs, but don't try to force me to conform to your beliefs. And this is the kind of a dichotomy that I'm observing a lot. And that's why I try not to lump in liberals with progressives. Sorry, guys, it's hard to do it. I'm a millennial. A lot of millennial liberals are actually, in reality, progressives. But it's hard for me not to conflate the two. But this is an actual liberal here, Jamie Dimon, right? And his criticisms. Jamie Dimon rips Democrats for disrespecting Trump supporters, saying Trump wasn't wrong about critical issues, right? And we saw the intro, guys. We saw what he said, right? Dimon, who is close with former President Barack Obama, reportedly considered a presidential run against Trump in 2020, sparking Trump's ire, right? This guy wanted, he's not a Trump fan, is what I'm trying to illustrate here. He thought he could beat Trump. Trump hit back at Dimon, saying he doesn't have the attitude or smarts to be president, adding that he is a poor public speaker and nervous mess. Despite the war of words over the last 5 years, Dimon acknowledges the policy accomplishments of former president, saying people have good arguments to vote for Trump, which is the case, right? Dimon then voices frustrations with Democrats who have demeaned Trump supporters, right? Grow up. That's the criticism. Grow up. Grow up, Biden. Grow up, Democrats, right? And here's an example of what Jamie is talking about. All right. And this is where liberals have an advantage of actually convincing more people, being fair in their critique, calling it down the middle. Right. But now a lot of liberals have fallen to this tribal politics of, oh, we doing it for the team. Bill Maher acknowledges this. Oh, I only got vaccinated because it was for the team. Treating this as if this is some high school squabble. And this is why a lot of people don't really respect politics. But I digress. Let's get into this example that I want to point out to you guys. In a forceful condemnation of Trump, Biden warns that mega backers pose grave threat to democracy. This is what Jamie Dimon is talking about. This is the demonization of half the country, right? Because, I don't want to spread misinformation, but this is a correct statement. How can you say someone's a grave threat to democracy that doesn't exist in America? America is not a democracy. We use democracy as a feature for our representative government, which is a republic. That's what a republic is. Here's some word salad from Biden. Instead, he focused on Trump's attack on institutions that are critical to healthy representative democracy. I don't believe so. I don't believe a government is crucial or critical to that. He discussed plans developed by people in Trump's orbit to expand presidential authorities in ways that will replace career civil servants with people who are owed loyalty chiefly to the president. I think that's a lie. That is a lie. because Biden's doing this right now. His own DOJ is dragging their feet, prosecuting his own son. His own son seems to have special privileges that are not equated for other regular citizens whose last name isn't Biden, able to walk into a pre-hearing in Congress mid session, having Democrat politicians saying, "Hey, we could do what Biden's wanted all along." Hunter Biden wanted a public hearing. Right now, we have a public hearing. Biden's here. Let's do it right now. Essentially, using the government to capitulate to the president's son. Yet he claims that's what Trump wants to do, when Trump had every opportunity to do it in 2020, but didn't. So how are you able to push this narrative, Democrats? I don't understand. This is what I'm talking about. If a skeptical, critical thinking individual actually questioned Democrats on some of the assumptions and premises they have about MAGA supporters, you'll find out most of it's unfounded. Most of it is just, hey, I don't like the way these people think. I don't like the fact that they're expressing views that counters my world view. That's the reality of misinformation, disinformation. You're saying something that is contrary to what I want in society, and I want to demonize you for it. That's the reality of misinformation. This is why they're scared for people doing their own research, because you could come to a conclusion that they don't want you to come to. This is why they heavily focus on try to fact check. Right. And in the reality, Trump doesn't want to replace civil servants. Right. If Vivek's in his ear, he will want to remove them completely. So how is he a threat to democracy when he wants to just limit the government, make the government smaller, take a chainsaw like Javier Milei and chop the government down? How is that a threat to democracy? What is it that it entails to do, Biden said? Once they erode the constitutional order of checks and balances and separation of power, limit the independence of federal agencies. Federal agencies, based on the Constitution, was not supposed to have independence from the federal government. Congress gave away their power to these federal agencies like the World Health Organizations to make policies on behalf of the country, and all of a sudden we supposed to follow them. All of a sudden we have to stay locked up in our houses because the WHO said so, because the WHO is not tied down by the Constitution. But the Constitution, I don't believe anyway, doesn't allow the government to give its power to some third party. Those who are in government actually runs the government. This is the policy that Trump is going against. The FBI has been used and abused. You saw it. You chase a fake story, liberal media, with the Russia hoax, right? Right? You're using the feds, these independent federal agencies, to flag terms like Trump, MAGA for banks to comb through customers' data. For what reason? For what reason these independent agencies have to shift through the opposing party's supporters? Doesn't that sound like a threat to democracy? You're debanking people because they express opinions you don't like. Isn't that a threat to democracy? These people are such hypocrites. And I'm glad that finally somebody that's at least adjacent on their side is calling them out and actually holding them accountable and telling them to grow up. You can't be doing all this and then expect a positive response. You can't be doing all this and expect to be calling yourself the uniter in chief. And then you want to call Trump divisive when Trump is merely a reaction to what Democrats has been doing for decades in our country. A la 2015. Many people who supported Obama switched over to Trump, and that's how Trump win. Trump was seen as the cocktail Molotov against the government, as protest for what they have done to our country, as protest for putting the citizenry last. This is why Trump is still the front runner of the GOP. Why people have such an affinity for Trump, such a loyalty for Trump. Because they see him as someone who fights on behalf of the people, aka a populist. And when established people like this decide to misuse their power, right? Use the government to give themselves, put them under the thumb of a president. No, not put them under the thumb of the president, but these agencies have to be held accountable by the government. The government can't just be like, here you go. Federal Reserve, do what you want. And then we suffer the consequences of their bad decision makings while the government doesn't face any consequence. Like I said, the government is the referee. If the government makes a bad call in a game, you don't suffer the consequences. If a ref makes a bad call between two teams and the call was devastating and it swung the favor heavily for one team, The ref's like, I still got paid whether if I made a good call or a bad call, but the outcomes affect the circumstances of the team. That's how the government operates in our economy. The government suffers no punishment for getting things wrong. The only punishment that government suffers is put in a different administration, put in a different policy perspective, a policy direction. But the Democrats don't like it. They'll try to smear the different policy direction as racist, xenophobic, whatever name they can find in the book. It's because of Democrats that racism has lost its meaning. The word racist doesn't mean anything anymore in 2024. That's the reality. And liberals and people on the left have only themselves to blame for this. Liberals for being moral cowards and not standing on principle and calling out their side because they want to play ball, team ball. I did it for the team. That they didn't stand on principle, and this is what allowed the country to be where it's at today, where we're focusing on skin color. We're demonizing people merely because they're of a different tribe from us. And people wonder why we're so polarized as a society today. Because Democrats are fanning it and conservatives counteract because they're fighting fire with fire. And when minute the conservatives try to fight back, now we're the bad guys. Now we're bad. Now we're evil. Now we're the worst thing since sliced bread. And this kind of hypocrisy only breeds more division. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with Jamie Dimon on this? Do you want to share some of your perspectives, some of your thoughts on the comments? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.